though not intended, how we approach it for the optics may give a different impression. I believe that our respected colleague is here with us and is being in Parliament, and we see his name and title in the vote and proceedings. So I would want to suggest strongly that in future, I'm not. Yes, I know, but yes, but maybe the approach. Yes, I'm saying that though it was not written in a way that reflects his title, but maybe next time you would have to endorse.
Well, let's make progress. I have a list where number 3 is addressed as doctor. Number 6 is addressed as doctor. So I cannot afford to add. So let's proceed with that. Let us not do this preliminary argument.
Chairman, I will not argue with you, but sometimes, Chairman, sometimes it's not all the time that you must be asserting yourself to prove that you are the chair. It is you are the chair. Nobody takes it away from you, but it's temporal.
Honourable members, I proceed to take a question from Honourable Dr. Brian Achampo.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairman. Nominee, let me congratulate you for the nomination. Indeed, Honourable Chairman, the Constitution is clear on Article 78. Ministers of State shall be appointed by the President with the prior approval of Parliament from among members of Parliament or persons qualified to be elected as members of Parliament, except that the majority of the ministers of state shall be appointed from among members of Parliament. Mr. Chairman, the nominee is a 5th term member of Parliament and therefore qualifies. Mr. Chairman, he's also been the ranking member for Food and Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs, and so he's very much knowledgeable.
Chairman, point of order. Point of order. No, it's not my. The nominee has just arrived. The way incoming ranking, is overpraising him.
I guess we're the Constitution.
No, yes, now.
Yeah, the preamble before my question.
He's talking law.
Let's make progress. You have the floor.
Thank you. The nominee, by virtue of being a 5th term member of Parliament by the Constitution, qualifies for the position that he's been nominated for. But honourable nominee, notwithstanding your knowledge of agriculture, the NDC manifesto, the preamble of it, says, quote, the agriculture is confronted with low productivity, low production, low productivity, food losses, limited markets, and poor access to credit. Now, notwithstanding the challenges enumerated in the manifesto, you are going to lead if you are approved by Parliament. As a leader, how do you intend to deal with the challenges so enumerated in the NDC manifesto? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. And let me say good evening to my colleagues on the committee. Indeed, life is in a flux, and the dynamism of nature dictates that while some are going, some are coming. And where some are meeting, others are also parting. I recall not long ago, I was on this committee when the incoming ranking member who just posed a question to me sat where I'm sitting today. And I posed to him some innocuous questions, which he answered excellently. Today it is my turn, and I want to assure him that I will deal with all the questions he intends to ask. On the issue of how to deal with the problems we have identified in our manifesto, if you had read further, the manifesto provides all the mechanisms we intend to put in place to address the challenges. We want to roll out a program called Feed Ghana. Under the Feed Ghana program, we want to drive this nation towards food sufficiency. And then we have also provided for another program called Feed the Industry. Under the Feed the Industry program, we want to establish a strong relationship between agriculture and industry, a symbiotic relationship in nature, so that as agriculture provides the raw materials, industry will be adding value. And in so doing, we generate a lot of jobs, increase productivity. I think one issue that I have to address has to do with lack of credit that you mentioned. Honorable colleague, you are aware, Honorable Mr. Chairman, you are aware that in 1965, the first president of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, established what we now call the Agricultural Development Bank to provide credit facilities for the development and modernization of agriculture. Unfortunately, over the years, because our agriculture is rain-fed, the banks are unwilling to discharge this special mandate. And that is why our farmers are suffering from lack of credit. The NDC intends to roll out a program called Ghana Agriculture Insurance Scheme, GAIS. Under this program, we want to subsidize agricultural insurance so that farmers can have insurance on their farms. Once you have the insurance, the banks are ready to advance loans to you, knowing very well that whatever amount they give you, so long as it falls within the limits of the insurance, it can be paid. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up. Honorable nominee, maybe the way I asked a question provided for very general answers. Because everything that I've seen in the NDC manifesto was in the Rawlings manifesto, was in the Kufuor manifesto. I'm talking about agriculture, feeding industry, access to credit, insurance, and all those things. From the Rawlings era, it was in their manifesto, President Kufuor's manifesto, Mills Mahama manifesto, a Kufuor manifesto. I see it in the Mahama manifesto. And the problems persist every 4 years. But I was looking for more of how you intend, notwithstanding the manifesto, to deal with maybe one or two of it, to provide assurance, the Ghanaian people, that you are going to give a different type of leadership to address the situation. But I understand it's a broad sector. Maybe I should have asked you the insurance or the production to industry. How do you intend to operationalize it? Maybe we would have gotten some more clarity on the matter. Yes, so my follow-up question to you is, Honorable nominee, on the issue of food losses, in your lens, how do you intend to deal with it, in your lens?
Mr. Chairman, it is indeed a serious problem confronting agriculture in this country. And we will want to
introduce something new to reduce food losses in this country. We've been talking about agribusiness. What we are saying is that we are going to encourage the private sector to put in place mini plants close to the farms, so that as soon as we harvest, they will buy the produce, process them. If it is cassava, for instance, you grind the cassava, put it in the rubber, you seal it, and then they sell to the big companies. If we are able to put these mini processing plants around the country, we will reduce food losses significantly in our country.
Mr. Chairman, my second question. Mr. Chairman, during the campaign...
Well, I take the first one, then it was followed by a comment, and this is your second question. Yes. Then you are moving. If you don't have a follow-up question on this, then you are moving to your third question.
I'm guided. Mr. Chairman, during the campaign, the honorable nominee mentioned that we are cheated cocoa farmers on the price of cocoa. The honorable, and that the price that we are offering, 3,100, was very low, that they will do better. He did not give us a price. Now, the finance minister nominee on the platform mentioned that we should be paying cocoa farmers 6,000 Ghana cedis, yet we're paid 3,100 Ghana cedis, and that we are insensitive to the plight of cocoa farmers. Mr. Chairman, after the elections, I was tempted and guided by those comments to increase the price of cocoa to 6,000 cedis as recommended by Honorable Atoforsen and my senior on the platform. But I felt that it wasn't right to do so. I want to ask the nominee, when confirmed this month, can he assure cocoa farmers that by February or by Valentine's Day, he will increase the price of cocoa to 6,000 Ghana cedis, so that cocoa farmers who are producing the chocolate for Valentine's Day can get the benefit of it?
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, it is a fact that I, Eric Opoku, made that constructive proposal to government of Nana Akufo-Addo, government of Ghana under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to consider giving Ghanaian cocoa farmers a minimum of 6,000 Ghana cedis for the 2024-2025 cocoa season. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, in determining the producer price of cocoa, you look at the FOB price or the wet market price. Then you look at the exchange rate. For purposes of clarity, I want to walk you through how we determine producer price of cocoa in 2016, and then do the comparison, then conclude on the matter for everybody to understand.
Chairman,
Honorable Leader.
Yes.
Honorable Leader, with all due respect, let's allow the nominee to finish answering the question, and then the questioner will have the opportunity to ask a follow-up. If there is a follow-up, then I can come to your follow-up question. That's the ground rules that we have set. So, nominee, have you finished your answer? Very well. Finish your answer.
No. Chairman, with respect, if you would grant me leave, Chairman, we have granted some dispensation. Please bear with me. He's a colleague I respect so much, and he knows what honorable nominee, respectfully, in your very emphatic answer, did I get you right in your answer to the effect that you made a proposal You made a proposal.
Yes, please.
That's it. That's it.
Very well. Proceed with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I made a proposal because I did not have the power at the time to do so myself. And the only thing I could do was to put a proposal forward for government to consider. Now, back to the answer. In 2016, the FOB price was $2,950 per ton. The exchange rate was $1 to 3.90 cedis. And so when you multiply 3.90 to the 2,950, the cedi equivalent of the per ton value was 11,505 Ghana cedis. When you divide this by 16, you get the per bag value of 719 Ghana cedis. And so in 2016, every bag of cocoa sold from Ghana in the world market attracted 719 Ghana cedis. Out of this, the Mahama administration gave the Ghanaian cocoa farmer 475 Ghana cedis. 475 Ghana cedis, which constituted 66.06% and kept 244 Ghana cedis, which was just around 34%. Mr. Chairman, the 244 Ghana cedis the government kept, part of it was used to procure fertilizer free of charge to the cocoa farmers. Part of it was used to procure chemicals for the cocoa farmers.
Order. Please, let's listen to the nominee in silence. Order. Listen to the nominee in silence. Please, proceed with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I'm taking a cue from the sentiments of the appointment committee, and so I will be laconic and lucid, but the point must be stated. Now, what is the point? In 2016, the farmer was given 66%. And so, every one of us knows that the principle of Cocoa Board has been that the cocoa farmer must be given 70% of the price. Now, in 2024-2025, every one of us, it's a common knowledge that the world market price is spiking up on the back of global cocoa shortage. And so when you go to the world market, at the time they announce the price, the average price was $10,711. And the exchange rate at the time was $1 to 15.5. Yes. But I was charitable to even use 15. $1 to 15 cedis. So when you multiply, per every ton of cocoa, Ghana was earning the cedi equivalent of 160,665. You divide this by 16 to arrive at the per bag value of 10,042 Ghana cedis. Out of this, I said, if we are getting 10,042, how much of this can the government of Ghana give to the Ghanaian cocoa farmer? I calculated 70% of it, and it was above 7,000. But being mindful of the fact that this government has plunged the cocoa sector into the abyss of debt, I was charitable to use 60%. The 60% was the 6,000 that we put out as a proposal for consideration. But government decided to give the Ghanaian cocoa farmers 3,000 initially. That 3,000 constituted 30%.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
Yes. Honorable, I belong to a football club in Lagos, and we say one thing when we meet each other. Yeah. My question is simple. Will you, based on the promises you made and the challenge you threw at the NPP government, and now that you are admitting that you were actually looking at the world market price, when you know that in 2024, the world market price will be used for prices in 2025, but you are in 2024 using the spot market price to calculate that, I take it. But I'm asking you, now that the cocoa price has moved from 10,000 to 11,000, it means that when you take office in the first week, you will be able to increase the cocoa price from your committed 6,000 now to about 7,000, which will represent 70% of the world market price. That is a simple question. The world market price of cocoa has moved from the 10,700 to 11,000. So all you are assuring cocoa farmers is that when you take over, it will not actually be 6,000, but it will be more than 6,000 that you will announce to cocoa farmers.
Mr. Chairman, I thought that my colleague will listen to the Honorable Minority Leader. I've been praying for God to help me resist the temptation to do something that the leader doesn't want me to do.
Mr. Chairman, I have had an extensive discussion with Honorable Samson Ahi. Honorable Samson Ahi, I've had some good discussion that there are matters of governance, matters of systems and policies, not NDC, not MPP. And there are matters for the Ghanaian public, and the market is likely to respond. So we decided to hold back our lunch to take you. The whole day we've not had lunch. We've not had a break to take any. So, Chairman, in Okunko, is it Okunko who said in Things Fall Apart that Okunko, yes, your smile must be brief. No, Okunko, is that not? Your smile must be brief. So your submissions must be brief.
As well.
Mr. Chairman, it is, no, he has asked a question. I must respond. I haven't answered the question. No, I haven't answered the question.
Obienim se wa be Mr. Chaso. Chaso. Ya ka samati Chaso.
So probably we may have to reduce the questions to Eric Opoku. Now, it's now the turn of Honorable Dr. Jasayo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable nominee, welcome and congratulations. I must say that in the last 4 years, I've worked with the Honorable nominee as his deputy ranking, and it's been wonderful working with him. He's a great leader. I wish you well. Honorable nominee, still on the cocoa subsector, there is this apprehension because the production of cocoa beans have reduced, and that in the last year we made only 400 and indeed under 450,000 metric tons against an expected 850,000 metric tons, upon which we took the
Chairman, cocoa production for last year was not 430. It was 530, if you care.
Source?
Yes, Ghana Cocoa Board.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I flatly disagree with him, but for progress of this conversation, assuming that the 530,000 metric tons is anything to go by. It's not a statement of fact.
No, it's a notorious fact. Honorable Erikopoku knows. Please, don't let us say it was 400. Stop it. When we are dealing with verifiable facts, it's not 400.
Leader, let's make progress. And I'm saying, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Dr. Jasayo.
Yes.
Hold it. I believed if there are some errors in the question asked, as you indicated, that to quote you, Wabi. So he's capable of answering the question and doing the corrections alongside. So proceed with your question.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You have nothing to worry about. Let's assume that the production for last year is 530,000 metric tons. Cocoa Board engages in forward sales of cocoa beans. At present, the reports from Cocoa Board inform us that there is a deficit of paying cocoa beans of about 350,000 metric tons to the buyers outside the country. As if you are confirmed as Minister responsible for agriculture, what steps do you think we can take to pay that debt before we start talking about cocoa beans for processing into chocolate for Valentine? Thank you.
Honorable Nominee.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Regarding the figures, I will say that both of them are right. Before the transition, the Select Committee on Agriculture, Food and Cocoa Affairs met with Ghana Cocoa Board at Koforidua, and they indicated to the committee that their total production for the year, for last year, was 429,000 tons. And that is why I'm saying that Honorable Dr. Josiah, referring to that figure, was or is right. Now, when you come to my colleague Opoku, just recently, during the transition engagements, Cocoa Board submitted some documents to us. I was privileged to be part of the transition engagements. In that document, they indicated that their production was 530. And so in this case, of you. But whatever be the case, be it 430 or 530, production has declined. And this is the lowest in the last 2 decades. Then on the issue of the default, yes, Ghana went to the syndicated market and then took a loan of $800 million to purchase 850,000 tons of cocoa. At the end of the season, we were unable to produce the 850,000 tons. So we defaulted on the loan. And then they decided to roll over that delivery to this year. The quantity is 374,000 tons. This is the figure they gave us during the transition. And so, now that we have assumed office, we have to look at how we can deal with this debt and many other debts at the sector before we can make progress. And so, what we are trying to do is to first and foremost take the office, go through the books, ascertain for ourselves whether the information we are getting is actually what is on the ground. Because we are picking some information that suggests that even the figures we have are far, far, far below the real figures. So until we get the real figures, we are unable to make a determination as to how to contain them. And then as soon as the chief executive is appointed and the Cocoa Board is put in place, the Ghanaian people will be made to know exactly what we have inherited. So I'll crave your indulgence to exercise patience. When the chief executive comes and the board is in place, the question will be properly answered.
Any further question?
Mr. Chair, I trust in the capacity and capability of the nominee, and so I'll leave the rest of my questions for now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Dr. Isaac Yao.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, let me also add my voice in congratulating my good friend and my namesake for his nomination. Chairman, the nominee is on record to have said that Cocoa Board management wasted 3.4 billion as administrative expenditure. And indeed, this has been captured in the NDC manifesto, that the NDC government will prioritize investment in cocoa production over wasteful administrative expenditure to improve the livelihood of cocoa farmers. Chairman, I have the audit report, and it has given the breakdown of the administrative expenditure. Chairman, with your kind permission, I would read, yes, this is just a, yes. We have auditors' remuneration, depreciation, amortization of intangible assets, directors' remuneration, staff costs, legal and professional expenses, rent and rates, bank charges, bond expenses, maintenance/utility costs, head office and division operations. Included in the administrative expenses is an amount of 942,982,000 Ghana cedis incurred on productivity enhancement program. Chairman, my question is, which of these expenditure do you consider as wasteful, and which one will you abandon when you are given the approval?
All of them.
Thank you. Let's have some order and take the question, answer to the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my argument was clear. I was speaking on the floor of the House, and I did indicate that I find it extremely difficult appreciating why, at a time when cocoa production is declining, office expenditure is ballooning. And I refer to the Auditor General's report that in 2021, Ghana produced 1,047,000 tons of cocoa, and office expenditure was 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. In the following year, cocoa production declined from 1,047,000 tons to 655,000 tons. But office expenditure, according to the Auditor General's report, increased to 2.6 billion. The following year, cocoa production declined to 530,000. Office expenditure again increased to 3.4 billion. So if you establish this inverse relationship between office expenditure and cocoa production, every rational being will question whether you are being fiscally prudent or there is some kind of fiscal laxity in the administration. And so I don't know how my colleague, who is knowledgeable in the sector, can defend this indefensible situation. But I thought that Minority Leader has advised that people should tread cautiously because of the sensitivity of the market. But when you push,
don't be provoked. Don't be provoked. Once again, I've had an extensive discussion with Honorable Samson Ayi.
Honorable Ranking, the questions are provoking the answers. Any further question?
All right, I'll slow down. Chairman, I'll ask You are done. No, I'm not done. Chairman, the NPP administration established the Tree Crop Development Authority by Act of Parliament. In the NDC manifesto, you intend to initiate the Tree Crop Development Program, and you have listed 8 crops, some of which are not in the Tree Crop Development Authority. I want to find out from the honorable nominee whether you intend to scrap the Tree Crop Development Authority.
Mr. Chairman, there is a difference between the authority as an institution and programs. In our manifesto, we are talking about programs. But I must say that we are all aware that government is a continuum. It continues, it doesn't end. And so whatever programs, projects that are ongoing under the NPP government, the SWAL NPP government, the incoming administration will make decisions and incisions, tailor it to fit into our agenda and execute it to perfection.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Chairman, my last question. In your manifesto, under the caption, Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, AETA, you indicate that the NDC government will create farm banks within the agricultural zone to ease access to land and irrigation facilities. Nominee, considering the intricate nature of our land tenure system, how feasible do you see this arrangement? In other words, do you intend to nationalize these farm banks?
The Chairman, that policy intends to address the very challenge that he mentioned. Normally, people encounter a lot of difficulties accessing land for agricultural purposes. We want to make agriculture attractive to the youth and everybody in this country. So we will want to acquire the land, prepare the land for agricultural purposes, then hand over the land to prospective investors so we can increase production and drive our nation towards food sufficiency. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I'm not clear. The lands are in the hands of the chiefs.
Honorable member.
Follow up.
Very well, but what you said is that you are not clear. So if you have a follow-up question, draw my attention to the follow-up question.
Chairman,
so please proceed to ask the follow-up question.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, as you know, the lands are in the hands of individuals and farmers, and you know the complex nature of our land tenure system. So how are you going to acquire those lands? Because it is possible that you will not get any contiguous land to be considered as your farm banks. So that is my concern. How are you going to be able to acquire continuous lands? Your approach who?
Mr. Chairman.
The question is not directed to you.
Mr. Chairman, what we will do is first and foremost, to identify the owners of the land. If the land belongs to the chiefs, we go to the chiefs. If it belongs to families, and the family head is Honorable Brian Champon, we'll go to him. Discuss with him, acquire the land, and then prepare it for the agricultural use. Simple. Who acquire the land? Land acquisition is done by government, by any other person. You want the method to acquire.
The acquisition is on the exchange of money. You have to make it clear. It's not you are buying.
Now is the turn of Honorable Jijoli Gakpe.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, you are welcome. And then congratulations to you. I know my ranking is very competent, very diligent, and then I have worked with you for the 4 years. I have no doubt about your capability. At this juncture, I have no question for you, just to congratulate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Uma. You have no question?
No, it's fine.
Very well, very well. Honorable Rita, no question?
No.
You have one question. Please, go ahead and ask.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I wish to congratulate the nominee on his nomination by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And I have no doubt in my mind, working with you as a friend on the Agri Committee, that you can deliver to us. But one area I would really want you to critically look at is the growing, that is the gardening in the homes and then the schools. Yes, so that's one area I believe when we were growing up, we used to have gardens at home and we planted pepper, tomatoes, onions, and it really helped us. And so I would wish that you take critical care of that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Patrick Yaboma.
Thank you very much,
He
Chairman.
indicated he has a question.
That's my good friend, Eric, Chairman. Congratulations. The gentleman from Sankore. Eric, I know you are passionate about how to get the youth into agriculture and also agri extension services. I know you answer my question with those two issues that I've raised. My question is from your manifesto, the NDC's manifesto, 2024, page 78 of 200, at paragraph 3.11, sub 1 and 5. Your manifesto made a very bold promise of rehabilitating a lot of dams. I saw the Pualugu multi-purpose dam there. I saw it. And it's in your manifesto. I'll give you the page. You listed a lot, Accra Plains and what have you. How much would it cost you to undertake this rehabilitation programs? And I believe you've done your numbers and you'll be able to tell Ghanaians how much it's going to cost your ministry. I know the House will approve of you. We know what you are made of. But I want to know how much to cost you to rehabilitate all the dams listed under paragraph 3.15 of the party's manifesto, the NDC. And I wish you the very best, Eric. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the question posed by my colleague is in threefold. The first one has to do with youth in agriculture. The second one, agri extension services. And the last one is on irrigation. And so I will tackle them one after the other. Youth in agriculture. Mr. Chairman, I read a report issued in 2021 by Haifa International. Haifa International is an international organization based in the United States. They are determined to bring an end to hunger and poverty while protecting the earth. They indicate that in Ghana, only 5% of our youth is engaged in agriculture. This is unacceptable. It means that agriculture is not attractive at all to the Ghanaian youth. And therefore, something must be done immediately to make agriculture attractive to the Ghanaian people. What can we do? First, we have to ensure that we create huge markets for agricultural products to give confidence to farmers that when they produce, there will be market for their produce. And that is why in our manifesto, we have emphasized on agribusiness. The marriage between agriculture and industry. Industry will serve as the huge market to buy from agriculture. Industry, again, because of the 24-hour economy policy, will have to employ a lot of people, including the children, the grandchildren, the siblings, and the nibblings of these farmers. And so all these people who were hitherto dependent on the farmers will now be empowered to contribute to the resetting of Ghana. Then on the issue of agric extension, Mr. Chairman, agric extension is very, very important in modernizing agriculture because the extension officers serve as an intermediary between research and the farmers. They are facilitators and the communicators. They help the farmers to make their decisions. They help the farmers to accept and adopt modern techniques of farming. Without them, agriculture cannot develop. Unfortunately, in Ghana, the agricultural extension officer to farmer ratio is around 1 extension officer to 1,500 farmers. Mr. Chairman, reading the handing over notes, they have indicated that currently every extension officer is serving 1,765 farmers. Even if you use the 1,500, and because of the peasant nature of the farms that we have here, assuming every farmer has 3 acres of farm, it will mean that one extension officer will have to visit 45,000 farms, 45,000 farms within the space of 4 years. And so there's the need for us to agricultural extension officers. The assurance I can give to the committee that because of the priority that we have given to agriculture, as you rightly mentioned, in our manifesto we have indicated that agriculture is going to be the engine, the pivot, the fulcrum around which all the economic activities will revolve. And therefore, we'll make sure more of these people are recruited to push the agenda forward. On the issue of irrigation, you are asking about the cost of putting all this infrastructure in place. We have done the costing. But I can tell you that the cost is likely to change because of the inflation that we're experiencing today. And so I have the cost as at the time we were putting our manifesto together. And it will be inappropriate for me to put that figure out as that is not the figure we are going to use to put up the infrastructure. So, Honorable Boama, you have been here for a long time. You know the procedures. As soon as the budget is presented and this issue is provided, the cost will be indicated in there for us to debate. It is premature for you to raise this issue here.
Thank you very much. Very well. I will now give the floor to
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Chief Whip.
This is a follow-up. This is just a follow-up to.
Well, you can ask your follow-up question and thereafter follow up with your substantive question because it's your turn.
Okay. So, Honorable Nominee, let me commend you. I have no doubt that you will be able to live up to the billing. You have shown demonstrable confidence, so I have confidence in you, and I want to commend you highly. However, on the farmer extension officer ratio, I know that it's been a challenge for a while, even before the NPP took over. I know when it comes to these things, you are more patriotic. And I want to see that sense of patriotism in you this evening. Now, it was difficult. We came in under Dr. Akoto, the same problem. Also a 3 years time. It improved a bit. It improved significantly. Okay? Then, compared to yours was so bad. So if it's a question of farmers to extension ratio, you don't really have the moral right to come and be describing how bad the situation was. How bad the situation was. So we did well. Dr. Akoto did very well. Would you agree with me on that?
Mr. Chairman, I recall vividly that this issue has been debated upon on the floor. We were told by the Honorable Akoto on the floor of the House that the government was recruiting 1,200 extension officers. But the following year, when they brought the budget and I checked the staff ceilings, I realized that they had recruited only 217. And when we asked them, they said the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development was responsible for the recruitment of the rest. I followed up to check on their staff ceilings, and they were completely missing. And so, leader, sometimes, apart from what we hear on the floor, we have to go beyond that to ascertain whether the paper information is in consonance with the reality.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll have another day for this debate. Yes, we'll have another day for this debate. Not today, he's not ready. He's not ready. Where he's seated? Oh, leader. Oh, sorry. So, Honorable Nobini and a friend, you have been eloquent on agribusiness, and I hear you use that expression a lot. Can you to elucidate and also contextualize it in the current situation we find ourselves as a country? What business? In what context?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, agriculture is simply the growing of plants and the raising of animals. But agribusiness focuses on profiting from agriculture using technology. And so in the current situation, Agribusiness is anchored on production, processing, transportation, and distribution. And so we have a situation where there is no link between agriculture and industry. We in the NDC believe that the only way to make agriculture attractive to the youth, the only way to make agriculture profitable, lucrative venture for people to invest in is to marry the two, so that when you produce, value is added to it, you increase your export, you reduce your import, you restore stability to the exchange rate, and then create conducive atmosphere, conducive and congenial business environment for businesses to thrive, throwing out millions of jobs to absorb the teeming youth of our nation.
So, any further question?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Chair, the nominee knows that changing the mindset of our teeming farmers to switch from the normal subsistence and cattlers and wool has been a challenge for a very long time. It is easy to say that, well, it's a challenge and therefore we are going to encourage our youth to go into it. What will be the narrative? What are you going to do? You have 4 years. What are you going to do to change this thinking? It is not easy as you're saying it. I have done some consultancy for MEDA, and you go to typical areas where our farmers are. And it's about subsistence farming. It's about what they want to eat. They farm what they are going to eat. So farm, excuse me to say, to the mouth. Exports only is considered when we are looking at free zone companies, and foreigners come and flood this space and take over. I just wish that 4 years from now, we can have evidence to say that indeed we have changed the mindset and the thinking of our farmers and our youth. I don't know how you're going to do this. It's not going to be an easy task. Many a time we find this thing, we state them in our manifestos. This is not the first time your manifesto is talking about agribusiness. It's not the first time. So look to the microphone and tell the teeming Ghanaian youth what you are going to do. I have confidence in you, but it's not going to be easy. What are you going to do to translate these matters practically? How differently are you going to approach this?
Mr. Chairman, first and foremost, we are going to launch a program akin to a champion's Operation Feed Yourself. Under that program, every Ghanaian, every household would be encouraged to own a home garden. At least we should take advantage of the rich soil to produce the basic vegetables that we need in our homes. We are also going to encourage institutional farming. Under this, every secondary school in this country will be made to own a farm. We are going to liaise with my brother, Honorable Haruna, if given the nod, the Minister for Education, to recruit laborers for the secondary schools to help them prepare school farms. Mr. Chairman, if we're able to do this, if for nothing at all, we can reduce the cost of school feeding. We can also improve both the qualitative and the quantitative aspect of the food that is served to our students. Then again, we are also going to encourage the churches and the Muslim entities. Already, some of them are into farming. We can talk about the Savior Church. They are into serious farming. We can talk about the Pentecost Church, the Christo Asafo Church, and many others. I cannot mention all of them. And Seventh-day Adventists and all of them. We want to encourage all of them to also invest in farming. Mr. Chairman, nature has blessed us with land that is capable of giving us the food that we can eat and even export. And so we have to take advantage of that. Now, regarding the peasant farmers issue,
thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I just want to thank the nominee. So go ahead with your question.
Okay. So
Order.
Yes, Honorable Eric, do I have your attention?
Mr. Chairman, you have my attention, except that I suspect some kind of a breach of, contract here. Because just before when I entered, you told me that, oh, my brother asked for you, I won't ask you any question, because you are capable. But you are bombarding me with a lot of questions.
Mr. Chair, my friend knows that we both know each other. And I'm doing this because of the people of this country. Just between the two of us, I could have decided not to ask you. But people, our Ghanaians listen to you. And they need to hear some good words from you. Eric, let me test your knowledge on this. Smart agriculture, sustainability, climate change. You know, these are current words that are used in the current narrative in terms of sustainability, green agriculture, and all that. How are you able to situate this in our situation? And this may be my last question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, all the issues or the technologies you have raised or broached here point to one particular term: how to sustain the environment, to make agriculture sustainable as well, how to implement policies that are environmentally friendly. But to properly respond to the question, I just, as part of my preparation towards this vetting, I read from an Indian agronomist and humanitarian, M.S. Swaminathan, who has been described by the United Nations as the father of economic ecology. And he said this: when agriculture goes wrong, nothing else will have the chance to go right. When your agricultural policies go wrong, food inflation will be rising. Food import bill will be rising. Unemployment rates will be rising because you are importing more and you are generating exchange rate vulnerabilities that will have the tendency to convulse the entire business environment, leading to business collapse and unemployment rising. And so the policies we have crafted in our manifesto are technically achievable, economically sustainable, and socially acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me thank the nominee. I want to thank you for responding to my questions, and also to tell you that we are going to follow you with an eagle eye. All the beautiful things you've said, get prepared. Get prepared that we are not going to take them lightly at all.
They are saying you should rather follow with a tiger eye. Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, do you have a comment?
She's still receiving a call. She's still on the phone.
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee. Congratulations. Yes.
Yes. I know that you have a number of beautiful programs that you want to roll out there. But I have a responsibility because we were in the chamber when we passed our affirmative action bill into law. And you know very well that in pursuing these programs, we have to take into consideration the women and some marginalized groups. And these people always face barriers to land ownership and access to credit. How will you tackle these systemic issues to create a more inclusive agricultural sector as you are proposing out there? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, according to a report issued by the World Bank in 2021, in Ghana, 44.1% of women are employed in agriculture. The problem is that they are confronted with challenges like their male counterparts. But I think the issue relating to credit has already been addressed. I did mention that we will establish Ghana Agricultural Insurance Scheme, under which will subsidize agricultural insurance to de-risk agricultural lending and allow the banks to offer credit to our farmers. And so the women in agriculture will take advantage of this opportunity to access credit to expand their farming activities. And then you also raised the issue of land acquisition. I think that has also been dealt with when we talk about the land banks and the fact that we want to prepare the lands, allocate to the farmers, deploy the extension officers, and make sure they deliver.
Thank you very much. Honorable, yeah, you want to? Yeah.
Chairman, just a quick follow-up. On agro-insurance, I know countries like India, I think India, Kenya, Zambia, and a few others in Africa are doing it. I don't know if you have reverted your minds to the need for actuarial scientists to do some good work on this. Because it's a good thing though, but if you want to bring it to in our country, you have to check on all these variables. Even the Insurance Act may have to come under an amendment. Maybe you have to think about it well, because if you are going to say, I am going to take you on, because I'll be filing questions very soon. So get your actuarial scientists to be doing the calculations and be sure it's something you want to do. Yes. I don't know if you have done that.
Mr. Chairman,
just a follow-up.
Mr. Chairman, it is a policy captured in our manifesto. And so all that we have to do to make it implementable has been done.
Thank you.
And I'll just add, Honorable Nominee, I realize that you've been concentrating so much on crops, and you have not spoken much on poultry and other aspects of it. And then I also want to know something about how you were dealing with the disabilities. I've mentioned vulnerable group, but disabilities must be a key area that you also have to do. Thank you.
Please, your response, the poultry.
Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you've noted it.
Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Please.
Chairman,
poultry and
on the poultry sector, sector, I think it is important I speak to it, because the poultry farmers out there want to hear something from me. Reading the 2024 budget.
You'll be nominated soon. Why are you acting this way? You are supposed to be nominated. Your good conduct. Why? You have not. Your nomination has delayed. You are not going to pray. If I were you, I won't be coming here. Then you are taking a fight with the minority leader. How would I pray for you? Can you leave here, go and pray? Your thing has delayed. All your colleagues have their names out. Yours has delayed. And you are still coming here, sharing power.
I love to be here. And I belong here.
Order. Honorable nominee, your response to the question.
Yeah, but
please, the response first.
Respectfully, Chairman, my first question was on the poultry industry and what we are going to do to revamp it, because it's so important. And so because of that, I wanted to just make sure you comprehensively, that's.
Are you a coach?
Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Siedu Data. Here are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Coming up tonight, Education Minister Designate promises exciting times as he announces an imminent review of the free senior high school policy to make it better for Ghanaian students.
Road construction set to suffer as Roads Minister Designate reveals a more than 100 billion cedi debt left by previous administration.
And in front of the committee right now is the Agric Minister Designate, who says that cocoa farmers are being assured of fair prices reflecting international market values.
Chamber of Construction Industry demands payment of monies owed its members after minister nominees vetting.
Another big story is making rounds. U.S. President Donald Trump has been sworn in as the 47th president. But those are the big stories making rounds in Ghana. Let's go back to Parliament House, where the vetting of the Agric Minister Designate Terry Opoku is currently ongoing.
Between demand and supply. Then another aspect that we have to work on is the poultry feed. We are going to focus, zero in on production of poultry feed to make it more affordable to bring down food prices in Ghana. Mr. Chairman, reading the Ghana Statistical Service report, they indicate that food inflation, which came to 23%, has increased to 27.8% on the back of rising prices of eggs, which clearly means that we have to push a lot of resources into that sector to revamp it. And it is against this background that President Mahama, on his campaign trail, announced one of the important programs which became famous in this country.
This appears to be a presidential manifesto thing. It's as if you are adoring yourself, preparing to take over from JM. This is not supposed to be the approach. I've already spoken to you. We've not taken a break.
Mr. Chairman, I agree perfectly with you, but I think that we'll do a great disservice to the people of Ghana if I don't see this opportunity to explain the Kokon Kitchen Kitchen program. So I wanted to use this opportunity to explain the Kokon Kitchen Kitchen program as part of the measures we will roll out to revamp the poultry sector. Mr. Chairman, let me indicate here that the Kukon Kitenkiti program is not a new program we are introducing in this country. It is an ongoing program. We will just improve upon it. When you read the 2020 budget presented to this House, specifically 7.3, the MPP indicated that they were going to distribute Nkukon Kitenkiti, Nkonfam Kitenkiti, Mponchen Kitenkiti, Enyan Kitenkiti. But what we are saying is that we are not only going to distribute that, we are going to add cages and also deploy more veterinary services to make the program more effective to enable us actualize our agenda.
Honorable members, it is now the turn of Honorable Ama Boa.
Chairman, thank you. Honorable Eric Opoku, congratulations.
I have a point of correction.
Let me recall that easily you were the best regional minister in the Bronga Hafu. You were sent to the Ashanti region, and Majesty Otufo didn't want you to leave. So you really acquitted yourself very well. Okay, I won't say what I was going to say, but I'm very, very happy that you have moved and nominated to the cabinet of President John Mahama. You deserve it because as ranking member on agriculture, you've basically led us to victory. And there's no doubt in my mind that you are going to excel as the Minister for Agric. Now, it's been said that, and this is what our friends in the MPP has really drummed, that the average agri growth rate in the last 8 years is 5.7%, far higher than the 2.9% growth rate that the NDC bequeathed to the MPP government in 2017. What is your take on that?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for this all-important question. It is an argument that has been made on the floor and on several platforms. And I think that it is appropriate for me to seize the opportunity of this occasion to dissect the issues for proper comprehension by all Ghanaians. In the first place, it is inappropriate for anybody to attempt to compare an average growth rate for a period of 8 years with an average growth rate for 1 year. Let's assume that the two represent average growth rate for 2 individual years, and then do the comparison. Mr. Chairman, what is the importance of agricultural growth rates, of increasing agricultural growth rates, if within the same period, I hope the Honorable former Minister is listening.
He's going to town.
What will be the relevance of an increasing agricultural growth rate if within the same period that you have recorded the growth, your food inflation is skyrocketing, putting a lot of Ghanaians into poverty? Already the World Bank has established a positive relationship between food prices and the number of people in the poverty zone. When your food prices are going up, the number of people into poverty increases. Again, what is the relevance of the growth rate if at the time of the increase, your food import bill is above $2 billion United States dollars? Let it be recorded here today that in 2016, when the agricultural growth rate was 2.9%, food inflation was around 8%. In fact, it is on record
that Ghana recorded its lowest food inflation in July 2014 under John Dramani Mahama. And the highest food inflation has been recorded in January 2023, and it's now hovering around 27%. And so in fact, my understanding of economic data is that it is the mathematical representation of the economic activities of the people. And so at any point in time, economic data and the economic life of the people must say the same thing. If economic data is found to be in conflict with the real life of the people, then economic data is massaged. This is not contestable.
Thank you. And so that really takes me to my next point about food inflation. Oh, please. You want to close? So, can you share with us your strategies to address rising food inflation despite planting for food and jobs? And while you are at it, you can talk about its impact and the billions we have spent without any impact. And what you are going to do about food inflation, because that's what they left us.
Are you saying without any impact? Kofi?
Honorable Patrick Boma, you don't have the floor.
Thank you, Chair.
You are out of order.
To address food inflation in Ghana, you need a multifaceted approach. First, you have to work towards increasing food production. And that's the reason why we are introducing the Feed Ghana program. Second, you have to work towards the reduction of cost of production, reducing the cost of agricultural production. And that is why President Mahama wants to establish the farmer service centers. These farmer service centers, when established, we are going to deploy agricultural machinery, tractors, tillers, combine harvesters to these centers. And Mr. Chairman, this time round, we are not going to import only the big tractors. We have taken consideration of the fact that 90%, almost 90% of our farmer population are capacity, regardless of the subsidy placed on the agricultural machinery to procure. And so we are going to bring in more of mini tractors, mini tillers, mini combine harvesters, and deploy them to the centers. Subsidized fertilizer will be reintroduced. And this time around, we'll distribute them through the farmer service centers. Agricultural
Thank you very much. I see that you have a clear plan as Agriculture Minister when nominated, when approved, to lead us into prosperity. So I congratulate you and may God guide you.
Thank you very much. It's not a turn of the minority leader and the ranking member of the committee.
Hello.
Campaign manager, extensive ECOWAS campaign manager. Man that made you speaker in West Africa. The man that made you speaker in West Africa, your campaign manager, is talking.
My respected senior colleague, let me first congratulate you on your nomination. I have always been watching your debates, and you know that for a fact, how you focus on research, even where you are doing political mischief, you interlace it with some unimpeachable facts that is difficult to rise on a point of order against you And whoever does so does it at his own peril. But that said, it's admirable to watch you on the floor, and I'm sure the young ones who are determined to learn are able to tap into your political wisdom. Anyway, this evening, I want us to have a little discussion on some of the issues you've raised. First, on the cocoa board. Is there any record from transition to the fact that cocoa board has defaulted on any of the loans it procured? Any of the loans, I mean?
Yes, sir.
Which of them? Which loan?
The $800 million which was taken last year.
Okay, is there any outstanding still, or it has since paid everything?
From their brief, they roll over 374,000 tons of cocoa. And even this year, they still have outstanding 300,000 tons of cocoa to deliver. But the assurance was that that quantity was going to be delivered by the end of December.
Yes, Honorable Erikopoku, please, respectfully, kindly, let's have a good interface. Question, they took a loan. Which loan they sought parliamentary approval? I want to know from you, as at the period of transition, had that loan been paid, as in the bankers, the financiers?
In fact, from their presentation, no.
Did they indicate any outstanding left?
But as we speak, from their presentation, their indebtedness is to the tune of 26.54 billion Ghana cedis. And they indicate that 5.37 billion must be paid this year.
Honorable nominee, you are not paying attention to my question. But I don't mind. I mean, facts are facts. Facts are facts. But I just also want us to be fair to other stakeholders in the industry who have been in public service, who will not have the benefit of being with us to ask some questions. You get my point? So I am guided accordingly in asking you my questions. So I would encourage you to pay attention to my question. So I repeat, the $800 million that they sought parliamentary approval, which approval Parliament granted, per their records to you, has it been paid?
No, Mr. Chairman.
There are some outstanding?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
But are you able to tell us how much is outstanding?
Able to tell you the quantity of cocoa that we have to deliver to be able to pay that. And if you want me to calculate the value, I can do it.
No, don't worry. I'm asking that if the figure is not readily available, I'm fine. You can furnish me at a later date. All right? I just wanted to know the syndicated loan, how much it has not been fully liquidated. If you say so, and you don't have the exact outstanding, it is fine. All right. Thank you. Now, the expenditure. When I perused the report, I realized that of the 2.2 billion plus, you were saying some 2.6 in administrative expenditure. Did you realize that in that was a 900 million went into compensation?
Mr. Chairman, what compensation?
Oh, compensation is compensation.
No,
for those
for what?
The the rehabilitation that was done.
The 2.6 billion.
That is so.
What about the
Pardon?
What about the 3.4 billion?
No, I am staying on that. That is a different thing that I may come to. I'm saying that in the 2.6 that you're referring to, is a 900 million for the compensation for the rehabilitation.
That year, the 900 million was the total investment made by Cocoa Board in cocoa production. The 900 and I think 900 and something million was the total investment.
But what I'm saying is that that 900 million is founded on that expenditure in the 2.6 that you're referring to, correct?
But I'm hearing this for the first time.
You may check.
Okay, thank you.
Please, thank you. Now, the producer price, I'm not an agroeconomist. We learn that Chamber of Parliament is a place we all learn. I'm neither an economist. Mine is the law. But I'm happy to put to you this question so that you can explain to me. Now, the producer price of cocoa, is it based on the spot price at the world market or that which is achieved through CMC's average price as negotiated?
If you recall, in 2022, Mr. Chairman,
Honorable nominee, by the way,
I'm answering the question.
No, just to remind you that it's your leader who is asking you questions.
You know, it's based on the price. If we do forward sales, we will approve that in Parliament, and the price would be mentioned in the agreement, so we know. If it's about spot sales, you use the average price in the world market.
In your view, what should be the best approach?
It depends on the mechanism employed by the board to finance cocoa purchasing. If we adopt the forward sales method, you know the exact price at which you're selling. If you opt for the spot sales, you monitor the price in the world market and take advantage when the price is rising. But in the case of this year, the predictions are all over that there is shortage, and therefore price of cocoa will go up. And so it will not make sense if you engage in forward sales and lock up.
Honorable nominee, you are involved in a lot of research, are you?
Yes, sir.
And your colleagues, some due diligence report I have, has your colleagues describing you as an honest person to deal with. I therefore know that politics is politics to you, and facts will remain facts to you. May I know from you, from your earlier submissions, you were very clear that the world market price of cocoa has increased as a result of the shortage in supply of cocoa worldwide. That in mind, would you agree to any suggestion to the effect that Ghana is also suffering from low production because of mismanagement? I mean, in all fairness.
Mr. Chairman, in all fairness, you are partly right. Because in Côte d'Ivoire, the reduction was around 28%. In Ghana, it was over 45%.
Honorable nominee, you remember, no, you were not with the Finance Committee.
I've been with the Finance Committee for some time.
No, I'm talking about 2013. When I came into Parliament, I served on the Finance Committee, and my respected uncle, Honorable Collins Dauda, he was on the committee with us. We'll talk about his story someday. He calls me Miwafasi, you know. In this very room, in this very meeting room, Honorable Setepe, the then finance minister, met with us And this was when he was bringing his media budgets, and he wanted to discuss some pertinent issues with us as a finance committee. This is what he had to say, that the cocoa sector was suffering low production as a result of the Galamsey activities, and many people were cutting down their cocoa trees for mining activities. And in fact, when he said that, I could relate to it, because my ancestral farms in Asin Fosu area, where my family members have been dependent on, few weeks before the meeting, they had come to me that they needed money to buy machine, and that people were making money from gold. And I found that strange. So when he said that, it wasn't surprising to me. Anyway, would you suggest a much more comprehensive approach on the part of the political class in addressing this Galamsey activities affecting cocoa sector, so that we are not seen as playing politics when the real story is there?
Mr. Chairman, I think that when you look at the challenge of Galamsey and its impacts on cocoa production, managers of the cocoa sector, knowing very well that these Galamsey activities is impacting on cocoa production, ought to have been very moderate on their cocoa projections. But you come to the House with a projection of 850,000, means that you have put in place adequate measures to produce that quantity. And then you end up recording 500 and something, and then you say it is Galamsey. At the time we were projecting, were you not aware that the menace could have some catastrophic consequences on production?
Honorable Senior, you know, you've earned my respect with that phrase, and I want us to delve a bit into that. You see, this is a national platform, and I know that when it gets to the partisan political space, we throw in a lot of rhetorics. Sometimes we don't mean them, sometimes we mean them. I agree with you that it is good to be measured in our ambitions. I agree. But then also, don't you think that the narrative by us as a political class should be aimed at supporting the sector in a very much pragmatic way? So for instance, getting the opportunity on the floor, you can, Chief Executive, in view of the realities, this your projection, revise it, rather than hitting hard or doing the blame game, because we know the reality.
Chairman, I agree with you perfectly. But when the Constitution places a responsibility on you, and you are unable to discharge that responsibility, certainly you have to be blamed. You agree with me, as a seasoned and respectable, venerable lawyer in the country, that under Article 257, all the mineral
now
resources...
you are going into law too.
No, I'm not going
that's
to law.
Our small space.
I'm not going to law.
No, that's our small space that my senior and I are keeping to. You are getting there.
Honorable Minority Leader, let him answer.
I know.
Let him answer the question. Please proceed to answer the question.
I was saying that under Article 257 of the 1992 Constitution. Okay.
He wants to be specific, so please, if you can be specific, do so.
That provision in the Constitution places the responsibility on the President of the Republic of Ghana to protect and preserve mineral resources wherever they are found within the boundaries of our country for the future generation. And so if we are blaming a particular government, probably it may be because of this particular provision.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, when you're on a national platform, the language obviously is different, but it's okay. Honorable nominee, now let me, tease your mind on this matter. You know, the EU issued some directives, let me put it for want of a better word, and they were trying to suggest to us that we should adopt a much more environmentally friendly approach in cultivating our cocoa, right from seedling production. You know, currently, cocoa board, and not only cocoa board, almost all our seed production activities rely on topsoil. Going into the sector, can you assure the nation that you will take steps to encourage the use of cocoa pits, soilless media, as an alternative for the topsoil?
Mr. Chairman, we have the experts in the sector, and normally their recommendation informs policies. And so if in the wisdom of the experts, it is something that can help our nation advance the cost of production, why not? We'll go with it.
So, but would you agree with me that the topsoil as a means of producing seedling is a real problem?
Chairman,
I mean, considering the state of...
We have a way of treating the soil.
Very well.
How can Burkina produce more tomatoes than Ghana? They know how to manage the soil. And so once we have the experts there, let's give them the resources.
Chairman, I'm not talking about actual nursery and final stage of having the seedling in there, because where the seedling production is poor, you produce weak seedlings with low nutrients. They won't survive. You are aware from the report you have from Cocoa Board that their survival rate is 40%. That is the mainstay of my question. That would you want to encourage an alternative means?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. That's the assurance I needed you to give to the country, because that alternative means will create more jobs. Because this coconut husk, if we encourage the private sector to get into it and then produce the cocoa pit, it's going to help a lot of the seed production, not only cocoa board, maize, rice, etc., all those things, and then it's going to help us. So that's the point I wanted to underscore. Very well, but let the records reflect.
Mr. Chairman, it's a good point.
That's an honest answer. Now, honorable nominee, this swollen shoot virus thing, that's, we are just dealing with the surface. I'm not an agronomist. Don't take me into the deeper ocean. I'm not taking you there. I just want to understand general policy issues and how your government is going to see to it. Now, the cocoa swollen shoot virus is one of the major causes of decline in cocoa production, apart from the Galamsey thing. Today, the records have it that over 600 hectares out of 1.95 million hectares of cocoa area under cultivation is affected with the disease. Between 2014 and 2016, when the NDC was in government, the control of this important disease was a challenge. Farmers also suffered, and it continued through 2017 all the way to date, no doubt. What will be the policy, a sustainable policy by your government to control this?
Mr. Chairman, as for swollen shoot cocoa disease,
the best approach is to cut the affected tree and replant. But my point has to do with the fact that this House approved a loan facility of $600 million United States dollars for rehabilitation of the moribund and diseased cocoa farms in 2019. Almost 5 years now. The impact of that investment ought to have been felt in production. But we are not seeing that. And it is an area that must be a concern to all of us because we collateralize the cocoa trees. And every year we have to release 32,802 metric tons of cocoa to service that loan.
Yes, I agree. I mean, in terms of, you see, in terms of the impact.
Honorable member, are you on the point of order against your leader? So please, I'll give the floor to your leader. Please, leader, you have the floor.
Chairman, thank you very much. I'm talking about the impact that you talked about. The rehabilitation, as you rightly stated, started in 2019. We are in 2025. So it's only 5 years away. Cocoa production will peak around the 12 to 15 years. So yes, the peak. No, the hybrids will start yielding from 2 years, but you'll be getting only a few pods. So if you want to see the impact, you're talking about 10 years onwards. Yes, so you don't expect to get the impact today. Fortunately, you are in government today. So when the yields start to go up, don't claim the entire credit for yourself. You have to credit the...
Honorable Iwapoku, I think, let's take it easy. Let's take it easy. The issue is not about he taking credit or otherwise. I think the thrust of the matter is the impact. And he was suggesting that in his view, the impact is yet to be felt. And I think it's a fair point. The issue of the time lines is another issue. I mean, and I just want us to be fair with him. He isn't criticizing or he's not saying that the policy has failed. All he's saying is that the impact is yet to be felt. Eric, if I got you right. So as to the time for that maturity to be felt, is a different matter. So I'm sure now, back to my next question. Would you agree that under the system, it will take a longer period for the full impact to be felt after this rehabilitation exercise from the experts?
Mr. Chairman, if you say the full impact, I will agree with you. But at least the impact must be seen now.
I agree. I agree too. Now, let's get into this. You talked about Nkukon Kitinkiti. Well, I heard it from His Excellency President Mahama. And for me as an entrepreneur, knowing the pressure from our youth on all of us as a political class, beyond the political rhetoric, I believe that if it is implemented, it will help the youth. Because a lot of them are dejected in this country. They don't have jobs, and the pressure is on us. You've already answered that steps will be taken. But let's go up north. You know, some 12 years ago, there was this same beautiful idea. That time, it was not Nkukon Kitinkiti, it was a confirmed Kitinkiti. Where the Guinea fowl rearing thing was introduced. It was not too successful. What assurance can you give to our young men and women in the north who have heard of this Nkukon Kitinkiti down south, Okay? What assurances can you give them that there will be a reintroduction of the Guinea fowl rearing policy, the unconfirmed kitten policy, to also help them and their livelihoods?
Mr. Chairman, I think that the Guinea fowl and kitten program has already taken off. The MPP implemented this in 2020, and I've referred this committee to a document that is available to the House, the 2020 budget, paragraph 273. In that paragraph, we were told that government was going to distribute a certain quantity of Ngokon Kitenkete to farmers. In fact, as a ranking member, I followed up. And surprisingly, that quantity, even though procured, what was distributed was far less than half of that quantity. And so the Ngokon Kitenkete issue, the unconfirmed Kitenkete issue you are raising, is already being implemented by your party, Mr. Chairman. And so it is not something new that we have to introduce. We only have to improve upon what you are doing.
So, Honorable Nominee, I just want your assurance to the nation that there would be a program to create jobs. So if your suggestion is that you are going to improve upon it, that confirm Nkete thing, kindly reassure the nation on that.
Mr. Chairman, that's exactly so.
Honorable Nominee, I mean, as we hear, I'm sure everybody is watching us. I've had the benefit of receiving a text message from no less a person than Mr. Emmanuel Ray Ankra, the current Deputy Chief Executive, Finance and Administration. He says, and he wants to be quoted for the purpose of public records, that the syndicated loan, as at the time of transition, had been fully paid. The syndicated loan, not other indebtedness. He says that I should actually quote him, and that he believes that there are other facilities that perhaps, if you can refer to and later come back to us, you would confirm yourself that for the syndicated loan, it's been fully paid. All right, so it's not a question I'm asking you. I'm just providing this information. When you are discharged from this committee, it's not an end in itself. We can all interrogate issues. So just for us to cross-check. Is that okay? All right. Honorable Nominee, now let me go into other...
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, sorry, I thought...
Mr. Chairman, I think I...
Do you have a response to that?
Yes, I referred to the handing over document that was given to us. In that document, they indicated that they owe the market 374,000 tons of cocoa, and that they have rolled it over to this year. If that is not related to syndication, I don't have any problem.
Okay, Chairman, with respect, I like the honesty on the part of my respected senior colleague, and that is one of the things I respect him for. You see, because they do the forward sales, okay, at least these are basic things that I know as a member of the Finance Committee. Because last year, they could not sell as they projected. You are right in suggesting that they have some outstanding pledges to the market. That is different from the syndicated loan. And so I think that you can check.
Chairman, are you implying that after or aside the syndicated facility, they did another arrangement to sell cocoa without recourse to us, another forward says without recourse to us.
No, Chairman, Chairman, with respect, Honorable nominee, you pay attention to me. Chairman, with respect, I think you answered it by saying that the impression you had was to the effect that they had some 360,000 tons to supply, which they had already pledged, and they had rolled it over. What you were clear, which I agree with you, was to the fact that you assumed that that was part of the syndicated loan.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
It is a fact stated in the document they gave us that they owe the market 374,000 tons of cocoa.
Okay,
if we have not taken their money, how would you own them?
No, Eric, Bojidi, you know, it is different from a syndicated loan. No. If they owe the market, it's not the same as owing a bank. So I am saying that let's be fair to them. You cross-check again so that we bring clarity to this matter. I think that we can always bring clarity. So let me proceed with the next question, if you don't mind. All right. Chairman. Tree Crop Development Authority. Tell me your plans in supporting them to sustain their drive in getting other cash crops to boost our economy.
Mr. Chairman, I think earlier on, in my response to the issue about Tree Crop Development Authority, I indicated that under the Constitution, we are enjoined to continue all projects and programs implemented by the previous government. And so what we are going to do is to look at the whole structure, make exceptions and incisions, tailor it to fit into our agenda, and then execute.
Honorable nominee, let's come to your manifesto, please. Your manifesto. I just need a small explanation on your manifesto.
Mr. Chairman, I thought at the beginning, when I wanted to fully respond to the questions, my understanding was that you wanted me to limit so that you also be brief. It appears you are in breach of this arrangement.
Honorable Chairman, my respected colleague knows that by my nature, I don't breach our gentleman's agreement. He and I know. But I just
Honorable Brian Achampong, it appears he's opting. Please. He's on the floor asking a question, and out of the mic, you cannot be engaging him. Thank you very much. Leader, you have
Honorable nominee, you know, under the caption in your manifesto, Agriculture for Economic Transformation Agenda, you indicated that the NDC government will create farm banks within the agricultural zones to ease access to land and irrigation facilities. Well, you and I are aware the complexities in the nature of our land tenure system. How really do you think this is feasible?
Mr. Chairman, if an individual in Ghana today wants to acquire land to engage in farming, he will get it. Why is it that if government wants to get land, to farm, he cannot get it. What we are saying is that, yes, people go through a lot of difficulties in getting land for farming. And so as government, we want to take the lead, secure the land, prepare the land, and then give it out for people to farm and increase production.
Honorable Nominee, there is this problem we all go through: social intervention, incentives we give to farmers. My son asked me this question. Now, why is it that we give so much incentives to our farmers, yet we get too little? How do you plan to ensure that incentives that we give to farmers are properly utilized for the benefits of our economy?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I think what we have to do is to make sure that every incentive that is meant for farmers indeed get to the farmers. We have a lot of experiences to share as a committee. When we invited the ministry to come and brief us on why, in spite of the investment we have made in the planting for food and jobs phase 1, we were not seeing the results. We know that in agriculture, returns on investment is very, very high. You put into the soil a grain of maize and you harvest thousands of them. So returns on investment is very, very high. And so if you invest almost 3 billion Ghana cedis in agriculture, the impact should be monumental. But we're not seeing that. But when we engage the ministry, we realize that donkeys were conveying fertilizer meant for planting for food and jobs to neighboring Burkina Faso. And these are some of the things. You sit in office and you assume that you have deployed the fertilizer, and so this can go and increase production, but it is diverted. So eventually, you are not getting the anticipated results. What must be done is to put in place mechanisms to ensure that every person that is committed into investment in agriculture indeed gets into agriculture, and the results will be monumental.
Chairman, my respected senior has just said something that reminds me of the popular saying that easily said and done. You know, you are going into the ministry with a lot of optimism, high hopes, ambitions. You are going to work with a bureaucracy. You conceded that it is a bureaucracy which is the enemy, correct? The enemy is a bureaucracy.
Mr. Chairman, this language is indeterminate. It's cryptic and indeterminate. If you can elucidate on it, I'll be grateful.
Very well. So I refer to the individuals in the value chain, the policy implementation stakeholders, those who are supposed to implement. Like you beautifully demonstrated, that fertilizer or some input meant for Ghanaian farmers, you have some camels or whatever cutting them out of the country. It is not the minister who has failed, but it is a system that has failed. How do you intend to revamp the system in such a way that all these wastes will be dealt with?
Mr. Chairman, my understanding of leadership is that the leaders will set the agenda. Leaders will craft the relevant strategies for the actualization of the agenda. Leaders will mobilize people behind those strategies to work to make it happen without counting the cost. And so if leadership is unable to rally people behind the strategies, it's a failure on the part of leadership.
Honorable nominee, you talked about some insurance for the sector. Are you aware of the Ghana incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending?
Mr. Chairman, I'm aware of GESEL.
Okay, so this new insurance scheme, is it an enhancement or is something new, respectfully?
Mr. Chairman, it's different from GESEL. You know, GESEL, their modus operandi is different. What they do is that they provide guarantee at a cost. And so when they come in to guarantee for the farmers to take the loan, they add 2% to the interest rate. This will overburden the farmers. And looking at the structure, how can the numerous peasant farmers benefit from this arrangement? And that is why we intend to introduce the Ghana Agriculture Insurance Scheme, which will be feasible, which everybody can associate with, and indeed bring a lot of farmers to be part of it.
So you agree with me that climate change is a major issue affecting the agro sector, particularly cocoa?
Mr. Speaker, it is a global challenge.
Yes, I agree. I agree that globally we have the challenge. But let's narrow it to Ghana. You would agree that in the Ghanaian agroeconomy, climate change is a major factor, particularly in the cocoa sector.
Mr. Chairman, this is a trite knowledge.
Have you some alternative plans to deal with extreme weather conditions to enhance agriculture?
Mr. Chairman, I think irrigation is the way to go. And then apart from that, we have also captured the development of the greenhouse model. You recall that in 2019, we invested $19.7 million. That was a facility secured for the construction of 3 big greenhouses in this country. The Dowenya one, the Bojuase one, and the Akumadan one. You know that all the vegetables that we see in our shopping malls are imported. But under the controlled environment with irrigation facilities, through the greenhouse facilities, we should be able to produce enough vegetables to take care of some of these situations. But I'm told that in spite of the huge investment that we made in these facilities, as we speak, they are not fully operational. And we have to do everything possible to operationalize them.
Senior, consumption of maize is very high in this country. It's a major staple for us. And we are not producing enough maize. Animals also rely on maize to feed. There's generally some deficit, a huge deficit. How do you intend to deal with the deficit, if any, provided you disagree with me?
Mr. Chairman, you are contradicting the position of your government.
Not. I've asked you a question. No, please. No.
Take the answer.
Chairman.
You pose a question. Honorable Ranking.
Chairman, with respect.
Honorable Ranking, with all due respect, you pose a question to the nominee. The nominee is about to answer the question. You can disagree with him, but candidly allow him to answer the question. Please.
Chairman, my answer is that the Honorable Ranking Member and minority, by that statement, is contradicting the position of his party and government. Because they claim that under the planting for food of our demand, this is a position I have continuously challenged. And it is good that today you are being patriotic enough to collaborate. That position I've held for several years.
Chairman, from where I sit, I ask you questions, and yours is to answer. And I put a question to you hypothetically. I did not rely on any data. I put to you a hypothetical question, and I concluded by saying that if you disagree, what is your position? So I do not want us to introduce politics. So far, we've been doing good. Not introduce politics and my government and your government. You know, you and I don't go that part. So I'm pleading with you. So far, you've done well. Let's take away any partisan politics from this engagement. It's not going to help. Now, let me ask you the straight question. What,
Mr. Chairman, I must indicate that I do not intend to engage in any form of politics here. But if the fact is that a government has assumed a position, it will be extremely difficult for me to go around and say that it wasn't said by government and therefore it was said by an entity. I think that under our rules and based on the oath we have taken, we have to be candid to the good people at all times. And then you also urge me that as I appear before you, I must be candid. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's okay. That's okay. Honorable nominee, do you have any public data to support our maize production levels, as whether as a country we've been successful in producing sufficient for our consumption, or that there are we have some public data to suggest that we really are in deficit?
Mr. Chairman, I recall vividly that in 2011, Ghana produced maize in excess of our demand in 2011. And that was the reason why SRATE, which is a department under the Ministry of Agriculture, recommended to government for the establishment of buffer stock to come into the market, buy the excess produce over demand, stock them to keep prices at reasonable level as a measure to protect the farmers, and then release them during the lean season to also protect consumers by preventing prices from skyrocketing. This is evidence. It is in our records that 2011 we produced maize in excess of our demand. In recent times, we are told that we have produced maize in excess of our demand. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, this is what is captured on records. But the reality is that within the same period, we saw poultry farmers in Ghana running everywhere looking for maize, and they were not getting it. And so I was surprised that at the time that we claimed to have produced the maize in abundance, our poultry farmers were crying for maize and they were not getting it. And prices of maize have been going up, which is affecting the cost of poultry products. And so the paper reporting indicates sufficiency and even above demand level, but the reality suggests the contrary.
Now let's go to Commander Sugar Factory. Your government took a facility from India to revive it, and you intend to revive it and all to create jobs. Now, I'm interested in the farmers who produce the sugarcane. How do you plan to create a sustainable outgrower system for this factory to be fed with sugarcane for production?
Mr. Chairman, sometimes when I hear some of these questions put to some of us, I cringe. I cringe in the sense that the facility has been in place for almost 8 years now. If it is only about the production of sugarcane to make the factory work, why is it that within the 8 years we have not been able to do this? Meanwhile, we have invested loans that must be paid back by the Ghanaian taxpayer. And so, Mr. Chairman, yes, you have asked a question, but I wanted to lay a solid foundation, mount the superstructure before I roof it. What we are going to do is that before leaving office, you recall that Parliament had approved a facility for the farmers to produce sugarcane to feed the factory. And we wanted to ensure that we produce sugarcane from January to December, so that we can ensure continuous and uninterrupted supply of sugar to reduce the huge sugar import bill confronting our nation. And so, Mr. Chairman, given the nod, even though it falls within the purview of the Ministry of Trade, we will work in tandem with them to ensure effective implementation and operationalization of the factory.
Honorable nominee, our poultry industry is having some challenges as a result of cheap importation of poultry products. First of all, do you agree that they are having some challenges?
Mr. Chairman, I agree perfectly. I agree perfectly that we are having serious challenges in respect of poultry production in Ghana. And I'm here to recollect one major policy intervention rolled out within the last 8 years to increase poultry production in this country. I'm here to recollect one.
There's the honorable nominee. Honorable nominee.
Yeah.
Ericus.
Yes, sir.
Senior Ericus.
Yes.
Professor. You know, your last 3 answers, then last 8 years, we have lost power. We are no more in office. I'm talking about going forward. So let's not talk about yesterday. Whatever it is.
Mr. Chairman,
let me finish.
You diplomatically confined me.
Yes, but so why are you getting out of that diplomatic sector?
That you are going beyond.
No, I'm not.
So I also have to come out.
Don't go there. Don't go. Stay within the confines. Anyway.
Honorable Minority Leader, you should also stay within your limits.
That's all right. Eric, we are staying within a certain whatever. Anyway, let me take you to Winneba. The Winnisek and Takufum vegetable farmers. These are farmers who are into vegetables, onion, cabbage, lettuce, cucumber, etc. They want me to ask you how assured they should be
of your leadership at the Agric Ministry.
Mr. Chairman, we have in our manifesto a program called Vegetable Development Program. We are going to encourage these farmers to form cooperatives. And through the cooperatives, we can make finance, credit available to them. Through the cooperatives, they can access support from the farmer service centers. And you know, we import a lot of onion. According to MOFA, every year we spend around $24 million to import onion from Niger. Again, we import a lot of tomato. In 2018, tomato importation cost our country $99.5 million. In 2022, tomato importation was around $400 million. And so there is the urgent need for us to focus on the production of these specific vegetables as a means to reduce the food import bill and restore some kind of restoration to the exchange rate regime. And so, Mr. Chairman, just indicate to your people that the hope they anticipated in President John Mahama has arrived, and that we are going to cause them to jump into ebullience, to be enraptured.
Honorable nominee, my final point, not a question to you per se, but like I did with Honorable Harun Idrisu, you are one person who is respected by your colleagues. Can you share with the Ghanaian youth how you've gotten this far? And that is my final question.
Mr. Chairman, in life, there are certain basic principles that you must hold on to if indeed you want to rise. Humility must be your hallmark. The fear of God is the foundation for everything. It is the beginning of wisdom. And with humility and the fear of God, everything is possible to achieve. It is with these two principles that by God's grace, I appear before you the third time for vetting. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, as usual, I recognize the presence of Nana Minta Sankore Menkumhini, Nana Ochre Siabo Esu Fufu Chief, Honorable Dr. Peter Buama Tokuno, NDC Director, Interparties, Honorable Isa Ben Ahmed, NDC Esunafo South Constituency Chairman, Honorable Seidu Adam, NDC Esunafo South Constituency Organizer, Honorable Charity Gardner Ahafo, Regional Minister Designate, Nana Kobna Ajiman, Opambo, Yenchirahini, Nana Tachiwa, Doma Benkumhima, and Honorable ABA Fuseni.
Yeah. One proverb.
Former member of Sanerugu.
We need a proverb from you.
Honorable ABA Katuma Viola.
Okay, one proverb before you go. One proverb.
Thank you very much. I use the opportunity to thank the nominee for attending upon the committee and providing answers to numerous questions posed to him. I use the opportunity to congratulate you and assure you that surely you hear from the committee. You are therefore discharged.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.